we're in need of getting back-to-back wins, we know that, but I want us to go out there and perform as well as we can. If we do that, yeah, we've got a good chance of winning the game.
Nigel, as a manager, how much do you enjoy a win like Reading, or do you get back on the bus and start analysing Swansea?
I think it's important to try and at least enjoy the moment. For me, though, it was more about there's relief in there, of course. We've been a long time without winning. There's also how we look at the performance. And as I pointed out last night, in terms of some of the games that we've played prior to that, we've played okay and not been able to get over the line. So look, it's reflecting on it in a balanced way, but there's a recognition that, of course, we needed that. But it's really very much back to getting the preparation right for the next game. So I'm really pleased for the players in particular, and for our fans as well, who endured quite a bit. But look, yeah, we've got to try and build on that now.
Just on the fans, you allowed the players to go over to them last night. You acknowledged the supporters.
Yeah.
That connection between the players and the supporters, that's important, isn't it?
Very much so, yeah. I've got a really bad shoulder, so I can't lift my arms too much at the minute. So, no, look, I really appreciate the support that we get. But as I've said, it's really about the players. The players are the most important people here. What we have to do is try and get them into the right mental state and physical state to go out there and perform at our max. And it's really important that there is a acknowledgement from our players for the support that we get. But yeah, it was yeah, you could sense there was a bit of relief last night. But I thought we played well for long periods, and we're getting there. Yeah,
on the scale, because you talked after the game about celebrating the things you done well and looking hard at the things you didn't do, right? Where does the balance? Are you pleased and how the balance is from the other night, or are you?
Okay, so when things aren't going well, it'd be very easy to point out everything that's not going right, and so I'm not somebody who uses a big stick very often. But there has to be a reality of how we debrief performances, and it would be wrong to paper over the cracks when you win a game, where actually we've still done some things that we could do better. So yeah, it's important not to let the emotion of getting either a good result or a bad result in how you how you reflect on it. Although it's a pretty normal thing to do. We're all, I suppose, a bit guilty of doing that sometimes.
Looking ahead towards the Swansea match, in terms of players potentially being available, Antoine played 60, I think, for the under-23s.
Yeah.
What's the situation with Antoine, let's say Callum, and Andy King, who had to come off?
Yeah, well, Andy, we'll check on him this afternoon to make sure there's nothing too serious going on. But he's a sensible and well-experienced player. So he made the staff aware that he wasn't quite right and came off before it got too bad. So we'll see how he is. Yeah, Antoine's made really good progress. He's worked hard through his rehab. Yeah, Callum was fit enough to be in the stands last night, so that's good. When you've got other players available, it takes the pressure off some of the players to come back too early. We want, and Callum's had a difficult few months in the sense that he's been out for a while, starts the season and gets larruped very, very quickly in the game. So he's dealing with a contact injury, which is, he'll be okay. And Joe Williams is training as well. So, we're getting to a point where most of the players are going to be available. And if we get injuries, if they're in games and they're contact injuries, there's not a great deal you can do about that. We want to try and avoid more the soft tissue injuries. And I think we're doing that because the players are in decent condition now. Yeah.
Swansea City, they've had a disappointing start to the season. How do you see Friday's game shaping up?
Well, Cease went to see them last night, so we think we know where they're at, but we'd be very foolhardy to think that it would be an easy game. They've had a change in manager, they've had a number of changes in terms of the playing staff, but they've got some good footballers. So really the key thing to this game is for us to try and replicate the good things that we do well. The intensity with which we play is very important. Yeah, it's about how we deal with the game ourselves. We're in need of getting back-to-back wins, we know that, but I want us to go out there and perform as well as we can. If we do that, yeah, we've got a good chance of winning the game. But I never take any opponents lightly, and I certainly don't read too much into previous games, you know, because they do have decent players.
Nigel, Friday night under the lights at Ashton Gate will be special, not least because we will be missing some of our loved ones who we've lost over the last 18 months. That's going to be a poignant moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's always a very personal feeling. I mean, everybody, I'm sure, I will as well, reflect on what's happened over the last 18 months or so, and the world's a slightly different place. I think what supporting your local team does, though, it allows you a bit of a release, and I think that's where we have to. It's really important that we go out there and put in a pretty lively, committed display. And if we do that, we know that the fans will get behind us, and that's really how I'm looking at all the games. It's good to play at home under lights with a crowd. I mean, it's one of the things I miss very much, and that is the evening games. I think there's a particular atmosphere in terms of floodlit games. Yeah, we'll try and put together a performance which firstly gets us 3 points, but that the fans enjoy. So yeah, that's the next step.